realized I do not. Oh, can I put this on? Might as well put a little something, something behind me. Might as well put a little something, something behind me. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. And as you guys can see, Delilah was in mischief this morning. Mom's starting to get some tingling back in her hands and starting the nerve blockers starting to wear off a little bit. So we started, the medication last night before she went to bed. And then she had some problems sleeping last night, as you guys can imagine. So she's laying down now, and I got her breakfast. So she got some solid food in her belly this morning, and I'm planning on making some chicken noodle soup later today for her. So we're doing good. We're doing good. And of course, Delilah is having a blast here. As you guys can see, she I don't know where that feather came from, but she looks so stinking cute this morning. I had to snap a shot. So this is where we're at. This is where we're at. I hope everybody's doing great this morning. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're covering true crime. We've got a lot to go over. So as many of you guys know, we're not going to be able to do a traditional live because of, just everything kind of going on in my world right now. So we're going to have to try to do the best we can with what we've got to deal with, right? So the first case is obviously the Haro case. This is baby Emmanuel. Everybody knows or has been following me related to baby Emmanuel. Let me see if I can get background on here that's more appropriate for the, hold on a second, for baby Emmanuel. Let's see what we got. Wait, we can do that. There we go. We'll do that. There we go. That has all of them on it. So, as you guys know, baby Emmanuel has been missing since, reported abducted on August 14th. And many people just really were a little off. I mean, I don't think anybody literally out the gate just thought naturally the parents were lying. I think everybody took the parents seriously up until a certain point. Things weren't making sense, and it was clear that, things were inconsistent with what law enforcement was finding. One of the most notable here on my channel was the fact that the black eye appeared to be old. People in my chat just knew that the eye was not recent. And I think that's where everything kind of got kicked off. Good morning, Melanie. It's nice to see you. Dawn, Mary, Jack. Good morning. Plant Lady, Amanda, Daisy Duke. Good morning. Denise, Twitch. It's nice to see you. YouTuber up in the house. Chastity. It's nice to see you. Rebecca, Tina. It's good to see you. Fedora. Hopefully I've got that. She is adorable puppy. Stephanie. Panda Bear's mom, it's nice to see you. Dolly, it's nice to see you. Who else do we have? Lisa B. Always, good morning. Vicky, it's nice to see you. Ruby, good morning. Libby, it's nice to see you. Detective Whiskers up in the house. Chaos, our beautiful Betty fan. Joanne, Robin, it's nice to see you. Brenda, good morning. Becky, Izzy Girl, good morning, y'all. Connie, DJS, it's nice to see you. Ashley, good morning. Tina, good morning. And Lordra, it's nice to see you. Good morning, good morning. Hopefully I didn't butcher anybody's name. If I did, I apologize. My hooked on phonics is broken. You're just going to have to bear with me. So we did get some information back related to the courts. One thing is that whatever relationship, in my opinion, that Jake and Rebecca had, it's over, okay? The first hearing, they barely looked at each other, in my opinion. Jake looked a little pompous in the first hearing, and Rebecca looked pissed. In just the expression on her face, she looked, in my opinion, pissed. Jilly, it's nice to see you. Phil, Valley Girl, good morning. Good morning. I think, Phil, it might be afternoon or evening for you, but whatever. It's nice to see you guys. And so this last hearing, I saw some photos, and it looked like Jake was kind of there in his red jumpsuit, and maybe his attorney was kind of standing to the side, kind of, being able to be a barrier or a block between his client and the other, from what I saw, the little bit of glimpse that I saw. She didn't look as pissed this time. She looked angry, not like she looked pissed, like she was ready, like F you, you know. That's kind of the jive I got when I looked at them. They split. No, I mean, you know, as far as they were really a tight network before the arrest, and now you can see that there's him and there's her, and you can just see the disgust, in my opinion. Now you'll have to go and review it. We're not going to be able to show it up on the screen. I'm going to try to hold this. This is not going to work out as well as we'd like it to, because as you guys can see, it's going to be, so we're pretty much going to listen to what's happened. I think that's the best way to do it, because I can't really do a whole lot here. We're only going to be like this for about a week, so we still have great commentary on everything. We're just going to have not as you know, pretty behind the scenes, me being able to stop it, play it, stop it, and you guys see what we're seeing. So, but at the end of the day, we are going to Law and Crime. So if you guys would like to see this particular video, you guys can go to Law and Crime. It's Crying Parents Address Missing Baby's Murder in Court. And so that's really what I wanted to, and I can't remember who's doing this. I always think it's Jesse Waters, but it's the other guy, and I can't remember his name. Once he says it, I'm like, how do I forget it? But I keep forgetting his name. Give me just a second. I don't think my speakers on here are working, because it's all still set up for the office and the sound system in the office. Give me just a second. Built-in speakers. Okay, volume's up.
We're in front of the media per KABC.
There it is.
Got him out of the car seat, and I laid him down so I could get his diapers ready. And somebody said, "Hold on, that's all I remember."
Whoever took our son, please give him back.
What they said today in court about being accused of their son's murder with his
I don't have the touch screen on this one.
We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
Chris Stewart, that's it. I don't know why I can't remember his name. I forget Chris Stewart's name every stinking time.
Prosecutors have said publicly they have a good idea of where Emmanuel Haro's body is, but at this point we don't know where that location is, and his parents seem to be denying that they killed their son. Jake and Rebecca Haro were back in court today.
Here it is. They're going to show you.
Know exactly what happened to their young boy. This is video.
See how the attorney
in
is?
Court today for their arraignment. They sat reportedly on different sides of the courtroom.
She looks angry and just
but they were arraigned
upset.
together in the same hearing with
She's
separate
kind of in
attorneys.
shock that this is
court
going
appearance,
on.
Though it was brief. Again, they didn't even really look at each other. They didn't really say much, but they entered their pleas to these charges, and they both have pleaded not guilty. The Haros are facing charges of murder as well as a felony charge of filing a false report. Heading into today, they were being held on $1 million bond, and that is still what they're being held on right now. The Haros have pushed back on the allegations that they killed their son and that Emmanuel was the victim of prolonged abuse, which is what prosecutors have been saying. Both Jake and Rebecca Haro spoke from jail to Brian Rokos of Southern California News Group. He was in court today for this hearing this morning, and he will join me in just a moment to talk about that. Now, prosecutors believe that Emmanuel Haro died sometime between...
So what we know is that Emmanuel, I'm going to repeat pretty much what he was about to say. We know that Emmanuel, according to law enforcement, believed that he lost his life between August 5th and August 14th. So it is my understanding that they have confirmed. Sorry, I still got bedhead Betty or shower Betty going on here. It sounded to me like they have confirmed that at least on the 4th or 5th that they have a proof of life. We haven't heard it from law enforcement, but for them to be so specific on that 5th date, between the 5th and the 14th, a 9-day window, that tells me that they have some type of evidence that proves that he was alive at least on the 4th, or, you know, a portion of the 5th before nobody saw this child again. We also know that the 5th is the actual date that Rebecca went to a funeral without her son, and it appears that she had the 2-year-old. So the only person that was with that child on the 5th was Jake. Jake was alone with baby Emmanuel on the 5th. How do we know that? We don't really know that, but our common sense and our problem solving skills are telling us that we have 2 parents and 2 children, right? So we have Jake and Rebecca, and then we have baby Emmanuel and his 2-year-old sister. Okay, Rebecca and the 2-year-old sister went to the funeral. Let's do it a different way. Rebecca and the 2-year-old went to a funeral, leaving Jake and Emmanuel. So it is at this point that I'm thinking something may have happened. Jake being alone with the baby being fussy. We know how Jake's temper is, how he can't handle a child crying. He loves to hurt babies. Maybe he doesn't think of it like that, but his body does. Oh, thank you, Renee. I had to make sure my fingers, because I realized when I was doing it the way I was doing it, I was going to be flipping you guys a bird with one of the fingers. So we had to get that knocked down. Okay. So 5th through the 14th, we know he was reported on the 14th. I believe really he was deceased between the 15th and the 12th. Or excuse me, the 5th and the 12th, because we heard, and I do kind of, even though it hasn't been confirmed by a third party, like an additional party, not a third party, but like we have one party, we have 2 parties, we needed like a third person confirming it, that they were seen or observed at that Coventry church, which is right around the corner from the Big 5 sporting goods store. If they were truly out there with a little bug, you know, a stroller, a kid stroller, baby stroller, and we saw almost the exact image of a baby stroller at their property, which has now been pulled out to the memorial, which I wish they wouldn't have done, because we believe that it's possible that they were transporting evidence in that stroller. And with them touching it and moving it out of its place and bringing it around, even if it had any useful forensics to it, they're never going to be able to get them in, because all these third parties have touched it and everything else. So I was really upset to hear that, especially in light of Ahmed's reporting that this child could have been in that stroller deceased. So that's very upsetting for me. However, law enforcement did have dogs all in that house, so I'd have to say that the dogs probably didn't hit on it, and that's probably why they didn't take it. So and they could have had another one, right? Strollers that color are a dime a dozen, and they could have had multiple ones around their house. I mean, let's think about it. That white and black umbrella that they had, there was one around the corner from their event. Everybody started thinking it was theirs, but then we saw people standing around a car, and it's like we had 3 black and white umbrellas. So, you know, there's no definitive thing saying this was the one. This is the one. Did they have multiple? And the with having 2 children, then possibly having multiple strollers, I can see that. Most people, especially people that aren't the most clean people in the world, typically it's either one of 2 things. They go for price. Maybe the black one is the cheapest one to purchase, or they go for the fact that they don't want something that's staining, so they go with a darker color versus a whiter color, which is understandable. Many people think about those types of things, right? Especially when you have kids and you don't want to be replacing strollers that keep getting stained. If you're that picky, you know, you want something that can be easily cleaned. I have 1 gray and 2 black buggies in my house right now. Exactly, Phil. That's my point exactly. So could that have been them? It could have. You know, is it confirmed? No, it's not. It's not confirmed, but I do I kind of believe it, though. I don't know why I believe it. Sometimes I just have to trust my gut. But I do believe it. I believe that what they saw there, because it's very sus. You know, when you look at the population size in the area and think that there's not a whole lot of people up and about, moving around, you know, those types of things, then you got to start thinking, you know, what about this statement. Is it possible? Yeah, how ironic would somebody be out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night with a stroller, and then 2 days later, a child's reported as abducted? It's too close in proximity for me to overlook it, even though it is just a rumor at this point. We have nothing to confirm or corroborate it. But I really believe that child is deceased before the 14th, a couple days before the 14th. And it would make sense, logically make sense, because logically, if you were responsible for a death of anybody and you have an opportunity not to report that and do some investigative work on figuring out how to get rid of your problem, right? And that's what they viewed Emmanuel after he succumbed to his injuries, is a problem that would warrant them going to jail for the rest of their life, and they wanted no part of it. So they had an opportunity to scope out and figure out what they wanted to do with this child. Nobody knew he was gone yet. We have no idea what they told their family or anybody else to keep them at bay. Maybe they said that the child was sick and didn't want to go out, or Rebecca was sick. Who knows? But one thing that was noticeable is Rebecca with 2 black eyes. Obviously something happened. Obviously something terrible happened. But the idea that Jake was alone with Emmanuel on the 5th, and the 5th happens to be the date, where the date range begins, from the 5th to the 14th. I do not believe this child was hurt on the 14th. I think that by the time they reported this child had been dead. We thought that. After we started getting some more information, we kind of knew that this child didn't lose his life on the 14th. And then that's when kind of Ahmed picked up the baton and started, running with it and seeing where that led. And I think the more he ran with the baton, the more was unraveling and revealed. And we knew very quickly that there's something not right here. He did a great job. I think he hit pay dirt with the jewelry when we found out that there was images of her falling down. Nobody around her. Law enforcement didn't tell us that. That was from an independent journalist, Ahmed Bellozo. So we're very thankful for him. But again, both Rebecca and Jake had an opportunity to kind of speak with this guy. This guy's it's kind of hard. He doesn't like. You could tell he's a very passionate about his craft, which he does more publications versus court TV, or us YouTubers. We're video. We're videographers in part, if you will. Where he is kind of digital. He does publications. He does written articles. He's a writer, right? And so he has a different mindset and a different skill set. And I can tell you, just seeing him, he doesn't like our kind. Okay. He doesn't have to say anything. I don't know if he's going to give any digs in this interview. I haven't watched it, but I can tell you, I can see what I see, and he's not a friendly. I'm just saying, but we'll take it. We'll take his expertise, and he did have an opportunity to sit down with him, and because he does publications, he's done a lot of interviews, so he's had his fair share. I think he's very experienced in being able to call BS, right? When you sit down with people and if you've done this for a while and you've studied true crime, you studied these cases, you studied other cases, you learn them fluently. It's amazing how your senses are heightened. You kind of know that this doesn't sound right. You kind of feel like you're being duped, because typically you are, especially if you're talking to a suspect. And he's talking to a suspect, so I'm sure he's got all these spidey senses going on. I'm sure he's, the vibe between him and the person on the other end of the phone is, from my understanding, he didn't see him belly to belly. So those types of vibes aren't going to be there, but he's on the phone with them. He can hear the pauses, the sighs, the the highs and the lows, and people that know. Like when I was on the phone with Don Wells, I always knew if he was drunk or high on something or something like that, even though I wasn't physically seeing him. It was depending on how his language came across, what he was saying at the time. It always determined, and I could always say, yeah, he's been slinging him back. And typically that's what his was. I mean, when I spoke to him, now I don't know if he was high most of the time. Most of the time you could tell he was inebriated off of something, So I just feel like you can get a vibe.
Thanks for your time again, Brian. It's been great to talk to you in what has been a very, very sad case. As far as the arraignment today for Jake and Rebecca Haro, what stood out to you about what happened in the courtroom?
Well, it was just a pretty typical arraignment. These hearings last just a very few minutes. The attorneys for the Haros, they have their own sets of attorneys, entered not guilty pleas on their behalfs, and then they scheduled another hearing for September 16, and that's going to be kind of like a housekeeping hearing. Kind of what's notable about the attorneys themselves is your viewers might remember the case of David and Louise Turpin in Paris, California. They had 13 children, and they went to prison for abuse and neglect and torture and perjury. And David's attorney in that case from the public defender's office, she's one of the attorneys for Jake. And the court-appointed attorney for Louise Turpin, he's been appointed the attorney for Rebecca Haro. So these are very, very experienced attorneys with very serious cases. They all have at least 20 years of experience, as does the prosecutor, who is a very high-ranking prosecutor in the Riverside County District Attorney's Office, and that's Assistant District Attorney Brandon Smith.
I know that
So Mike, whatever his name is, I don't have my paperwork with me. He's not going to be prosecuting the case. It's going to be this Brandon Smith person or whatever their name. That name is. So that's pretty stinking interesting. That they are going to go forward. They're being represented by, it sounds like, you guys know me, I want the pit bulls for the defense attorneys. I want them. It's just one less appeal that they have, okay? If they have crappy counsel, we're going to have problems later down the road. We need to have the most effective counsel for them that's going to go to bat for them. Look at Brian Koberger, okay? The defense attorney represented him well, and we got that nipped in the bud. While I disagree with how that whole case was done, I mean, from start to finish. Well, I shouldn't say start to finish. I was very appreciative of law enforcement. I know that Chris McDonough, being a seasoned homicide investigator, he saw a lot of issues with their investigative practices. But I think us as an average Joe, I think we are very, pleased with the progress. At the end of the day, us average Joes, we kind of look at things like, do we have a problem? Yes. It has the problem. Can like, did we have a murder? Did they investigate the murder? Did they collect evidence? Is there an arrest? Right? Yes, 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 yes. Right. So I think us as society, that's what we're looking for. While I do appreciate Chris McDonough and being thorough and explaining how, then that's how we learn what could have been done better. But I think from an average Joe perspective, we're looking at this. Is there, did somebody get killed? Yes, somebody died. They got collected evidence. They were able to bring the person to justice. And that's what we want as average Joes in here. Now, if there's ways for them to do better, if there's ways for them, hey, Rod, it's nice to see you, Wild Wolf, good morning. If there's different protocols and procedures that should have taken place, oh, thank you, Melanie. Melanie gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell Melanie thank you. And welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the insane asylum. I don't have push buttons because my mommy is in the other room and she's trying to heal from shoulder surgery. So I'm trying to keep it as much down as possible. So we didn't bring the whole studio over to Mom's, but here we are, you know. Aw, Vicky got it. Oh, wow, that's so wonderful. Congratulations, Vicky. Congratulations. Don't forget, guys, next week we'll probably be doing a giveaway as well. Where was I getting at? I kind of lost my train of thought here, but let me get back on track here. So we had it doesn't sound like Mike's going to be the one representing this case, which is probably good. You know, he seems a little too tight for me. I'm sure he'd do great. I'm sure whatever team is done will do great. Oh yeah, I remember I was talking about Brian Koberger, and look at all the stuff that his attorney was able to get for him. His attorney was able to drag this out for as long as she pulled out literally every stops, delay, and that's what she did, delay, and she was able to successfully delay the hearing for quite some time, but then it was push come to shove, and it was time to start preparing for trial. And despite what they had argued and all of the motions, at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, that's just ink on paper. You've got to be able to put together a defense. And I think they started realizing very quickly there was no defense that they could really put on that's going to justify it. There was just too much overwhelming information and evidence against Brian Koberger. There just was. And so I think that we might see something like that in this case. I really don't think Rebecca and Jake are going to want the whole world to know what they truly did. And I have a funny feeling their attorneys are going to do kind of like what we did, either delay, but it sounds like from what Mike, I know it starts with an H. Hestron, Mike Hestron. From what Mike Hestron says, they're not interested in making a deal. They want this trial to go forward. They want this trial to absolutely go forward. But just because they want a trial to go forward doesn't necessarily mean a trial will go forward. If both Jake and Rebecca decide to plea out and say, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and put throw our mercy at the court and pray to God we get a life sentence or 25 years, they may do that. But these attorneys, like with the Turpin case, they took that stuff to trial, from my understanding. I didn't watch it. I heard that they were very, very good. Only you guys would know. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't know about the case. I think we might have glossed over it. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. I think we might have, glossed over the case at one point because it sounds like something that's pretty shocking, but because of the torture aspect, YouTube has started lightening up some of the stuff that we can talk about, and it's still even hard not to get, a nick against your account, but I just don't care anymore. I've just gotten to the point where I don't care. I'm going to talk about what the heck I want to talk about. Let YouTube do whatever it's going to do. I don't care anymore. But back then I did. And the issue was we couldn't really talk about children, SA, torture. We couldn't even have those in the same sentence without it triggering something behind the scenes. So now I think because YouTube is in a lot of the content, a lot of the social media accounts realize that there is a big niche market of true crime folks, and we talk about we're all over the age of 18, and we talk about some stuff that's pretty brutal that goes on in our society. And so they've relaxed a lot of that stuff. When I first came here, it was tough. Like Summer Wells, we had to be very cautious on how we covered that case because there was so much we couldn't talk about on YouTube. And there's still a lot of stuff that we can't talk about on YouTube. And I'm actually, because I still think it's very important information, I think I am going to get a Patreon account. I'll set the amount as low as I can set it so people that want to see the stuff, they don't have to, whatever. But it's just, that's the only way we can talk about some of these things that we're not allowed to get on here. I guess Patreon allows us to be more frank right? Or frank. And so I like that. So we may actually do that because we've had some like the Bibbs case, the Bibbs Alabama case. I can't talk about that on here. We're talking about essay allegations, front and back. So those are things that we could be discussing. I could be running that whole entire Bibbs Alabama case on Patreon. So it's just an hey, PL Writer, it's nice to see you. Has any, just as a matter of fact, has anybody seen Love It, Love It? I know she was going through some tough times, her mom and stuff like that, and I haven't seen her in here, so hopefully she's hiding in the bushes. But if she's out there still watching, I just wanted to tell her, hey. And that was one person I hadn't seen here. At least I haven't noticed. Maybe they changed their name as well. That might be a possibility because people are starting to smarten up. If you guys do have your full names on here and you use it for other things, my suggestion would be to change your name. As you know, everybody here has got weird names in here. It's for a purpose. It's because, social media is a dangerous place, and you'll never believe the kinds of things that I would never even think of doing people do. So just be careful, be careful on social media. I don't know where the case is going to go. I'm definitely confident that the people that need to be there, despite their need to say that they didn't do anything, we know they did. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Their story is full of holes, doesn't make sense. The lady's walking around with black eyes. I mean, we know that she's getting beat. If she's getting beaten, her son's disappeared, and that the guy that she's with has already maimed another child. Well, I'm sorry, the fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree here. I mean, we're dealing with the same scenario. So I think we're good on this case. It's just going to be, I think we're all just waiting with bated breath to hear the reality of what we don't know. We have a lot of stuff because of Ahmed, we do know, but what are those things that we don't know? Rumble is free for everyone, and they don't care what you talk about. Maybe I'll go over to Rumble. I do have an account over Rumble, but I don't have a whole lot of viewership on Rumble. So maybe so if you guys are on Rumble, go over there. Maybe if we start getting some more audience over there, I'll start doing more cases over there. That'll be good. That would be good. That would be real good. But as long as we have the audience and people are consuming, what we got, then I don't mind being on there. But as long as we can just talk, I just want a place that we can talk frankly about some of these cases without having to be worried if we're going to be, if our account's going to be banned. I think that's, we don't have any intent to do anything wrong. And I think that should be the number one objective. And people make mistakes all the time. They shouldn't have to lose their account over it. But what was the intent behind it? Is the intent is not to cause problems, then they should take that into consideration. But you're talking to an algorithm, not a person. It just doesn't work that way. But getting on to the next case, because we're not going to be on here too awfully long. I've got a lot of stuff going on. And if you guys weren't here for last night's show, I found out that not only did my mom have surgery, my best friend had oral surgery. And I said it was Wednesday, but she said Thursday. And I just didn't, I couldn't remember what day it was because I was exhausted last night. But it was my mom telling me the 4th and my best friend telling me the day. And I just got all kinds of confused. So after I got mom situated and, food made and everything like that, my best friend called and she's like, how's mom? I'm like, mom's doing well. And she's just sounded funny. And she's like, well, I had, my oral surgery today and it was really bad. And she's like, I already had to go back to the dentist. She's like, I'm in a lot of pain. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just had to profusely apologize to her that I forgot. So we ended up going over there, taking care of her, came back. Mom stayed with Delilah. Her nerve blocker was still working, but I still worry about her. I'm so scared she's going to do something wrong. But I've read the papers. She's supposed to be moving. Yeah, after, not tomorrow, but Sunday, she should start doing some shoulder rolls, trying to do some shoulder rolls. So I'm just trying to keep her comfortable right now and keep her fulls, because I noticed that, you know, when you're sick and you're full, you usually are happier person. When you're sick, hungry, and miserable, you're usually not a good happy person. So I'm just trying to make her fat and happy. That's all I'm trying to do. Okay, that's my solution. Okay, I got you know, the therapy is for whatever situation I'm in. You want me to babysit? Happy to babysit. Expect a bullhorn and a kid loaded up in candy. I send them straight home. And if I can't find a bullhorn that fits in their hand, I'm giving them a noisy little clapper that they can rock back and forth. All right. So that's the strategy for the babysitting. Whenever it's the, you know, caregiving, I just want to make them fat and happy. I want to make them fat and happy. Make sure Mama does all the physical therapy. She's pretty good on her own. She really is. She's pretty good on her own. Trust me, I can't even I'm trying to keep the woman down. Okay. And she got up this morning. She's looking at Jack's hair, and she's like, you know, tomorrow, you know, or in 2 days, I'm going to be able to, you know, get out of the sling and, you know, move my arm. She's like, I can cut your hair then. I stopped and looked at her, and I said, you honestly think you're going to cut this man's hair? Go to bed. I don't even want to hear it. Just go. Just go to bed. If all else fails, eat a Snickers. There you go. I need to go buy some Snickers. So surprisingly, we had some response from the FBI on Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. The one thing I noticed that they got some of the information wrong. Like the very first thing out the gate on their post is February 26th, 2024, or excuse me, 2025. It looks like they went back and updated it since then, because I'm here now. And this is the one they dropped yesterday, but I looked at it and I'm like, it said February 26, 2025. And I'm like, oops, they made a mistake. But the good news is already this morning they have corrected it. It's now officially February 26, 2024. So us be recover. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Love Bug. Liza, well, listen, I when I read this, they're putting the statement out, but check this out. This is not their statement. This is Sumner County's statement. I think they called Sumner County and said, look, we need to put something out. Like, you know, this is, I don't know what they said behind the scenes, but I think the FBI reached out to them somehow and said, like, look, guys, we're sick of hearing about nobody getting any information. Because everything in here seems like the statements from SCSO, you know, which are the people that are corrupt. And they're explaining even the flashlight. The flashlight, I'm sorry, I watched the video. You are not going to convince somebody like me that works with cameras and lighting every single day. Literally cameras and lighting. Every single day. You're not going to tell me that that is some type of light event from a camera and a... No. I don't care what your pedigree is. I don't care if you're law enforcement or not. I deal with video cameras every day of my life. I deal with lighting. I deal with shadows. I deal with everything every day of my life. You are not going to convince me that this is a reflection from somebody's headlights. No way. No way. And not only that, the only way those lights would move is if you have a moving object with lights moving. Okay, if you had a reflection and nothing is moving, that reflection is staying stationary. Okay, how would I know this? Oh my God, I work with cameras every fucking day. That's how I know. That's right. I work with cameras every day. I've recorded at night. I've recorded in the day. As a matter of fact, I got arrested for recording on public property at night. In Sumner County, the same place that says, we just need to focus on finding Sebastian. I love that one. So you're now asking for the public to help find Sebastian, yet you intimidate and arrest everybody that comes out there to try to help in this case. So take that crap and shove it where the sun don't shine. And I'm just like in awe that the FBI would post their garbage as fact. But go back and read it. These aren't the statements from the FBI. They called and got an interview with the people that are handling this from the SCSO and TBI. And they took it and compiled a statement for us to read because they know that we need to have something. And it's so funny, SCSO's response basically always is, well, we have an integrity of the investigation to uphold. We can't give them every little detail of the case. We don't want every blessed detail of the case. We just want to know that you're freaking working on it. And you keep saying the same boilerplate response. It's an active and ongoing investigation, and we're making sure we're following up on every lead. Is not good enough. Not after 18 months. And clearly, the FBI agrees. Otherwise, they wouldn't have called your sorry asses for a statement so they could put a statement out because you're too incompetent to write your own damn statement. Or too broke. Or just don't give a shit. Maybe a combination of all. Maybe a combination of all. But I think the FBI did this because they're sick and tired of Sumner County keeping their mouth shut, and they know that the public deserves a response. They know the public deserves a response. I truly believe that. Would you like, oh, that's not a, this is my iPod. Those lights tell the story. That's why they're trying to convince us otherwise. I know. And I get that. You know, they're still playing cat and mouse with Chris and Katie. But one thing is apparent. They made sure they put the bullseye right on Katie's back in the FBI, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They put that bullseye to make sure everybody knows that law enforcement is looking directly at Katie. If you go back and read that over and over again. Tell me you read it any other way. Tell me you read it any other way. They know. They know Katie's involved. Katie knows she's involved. And they're trying to shut our mouths up to say, oh, they're not talking. Nah, I don't really give a crap. I don't care about Katie. I don't care about Chris. I don't care about Kathy. I don't care about Terry. If they all went boom tomorrow, I wouldn't care. I would not lose any sleep. As a matter of fact, they would probably be people that I would sit there on the sideline and slowly dial 911 to help. 911. What is your emergency? Yes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 people right now on fire. Where am I? You know, this is a little tricky. I might be somewhere in Sumner County. You know, I might be somewhere in Hendersonville. Is there any way you can... Oh, it looks like they're putting themselves out. Oh, no, they're reignited again. You might want to just, you know, they're kind of on fire, kind of not on fire. Oh, will I go help them? Oh, no. No, I have a restraining order, ma'am. Yeah. Because I used hashtags. My hashtags are lethal. So I'm not going to be able to go over there and help them. No. I still don't know where we are. But don't worry about it. It looks like they're all lashed now. Have a great day. God bless. Oh. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be there. The lethal hashtags. The lethal hashtags. My pee is too valuable, okay? I'm sorry. My pee is golden. It's not going on them to help them, okay? I know they're probably into that kind of stuff, but I'll let them burn, baby, burn. They're doing enough burning of their own, so... but they go through here, so if you guys haven't had an opportunity to read this, I'm going to go ahead and read it for you. It says, on February 26, 2024, Katie Proudfoot went to wake up her 14-year-old son for school. To her surprise, he was nowhere to be found. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers has spent the previous day with his mother. The pair shopped at department stores, played video games at a bowling alley, and had dinner at a local restaurant before heading home for the evening. After returning to their home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, Katie and Sebastian prepared for bed, saying good night somewhere between 9 and 10. That's inaccurate because Katie has always maintained that child went to bed, her son, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, at 9 p.m. Period. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So now they have an hour window here. This is the problem I have in the next sentence. Because we heard it was a thud. Well, we heard it a thump, right? It went from a sound to a thump to a thud. That's not what she told law enforcement. And it's making me believe that maybe Sebastian was shot. Because this is what Katie's actual statement was. Katie told us a little bit before 10 p.m. she heard a loud bang. This is not a noise. This is not a thump. And this is not a thud. Her statement, Katie told us a little bit before 10, she heard a loud bang coming out of Sebastian's room. So she yelled out and asked him if he was okay, which he responded and said he was okay, according to Detective Brandon Carter from Sumner County Sheriff. She told him to go to bed because they had to be up early for school the next morning. At this point, she should have been on the phone with Chris Proudfoot. Chris Proudfoot never indicated out of a year and a half that he ever heard these statements come out of her mouth. He's never acknowledged hearing any of these statements. Ever. Just to let you know. And this would have been the loud bang he should have heard. He never acknowledged the loud bang or thud or thump or whatever, the noise. He's never acknowledged that. Yet he was on the phone. He was on the phone by 9:46. So all of this happened while he was on the phone, yet he has never talked as if he's heard it or seen it. None of it. But that's the one thing that was much different from everything that we have ever heard about this story. And it said she heard a loud bang. Bang. Not sound, not thump, not a thud. She told law enforcement it was a bang. Problematic for me. Katie called her husband, who was out of town in the South week, and they said that they spoke, and the two of them spoke for nearly 2 hours. He said he spoke to her, it was over 2 hours, because he said he talked to her, well, it's right about 2 hours. He talked to her at 9:46, and shortly before midnight, they got off the phone. So the only person moving around at that house that night that could have been caught or recorded on the neighbor's camera across the street, that silhouette in the dining room, that could have only been Katie. It could have only been Katie. Because they're admitting that she was the only person awake and up at that time. And that wasn't, and they were not going to tell me that I don't see a freaking silhouette. The next morning was the beginning of what would become a massive search effort. Oh, they also said before she went to sleep at midnight. So midnight is the key. 9, 10, midnight. Always those times always stay the same. The information around what happened at those times differ every time one of them says something. So here's another little tidbit. So the next morning they began the massive searches. Katie called her husband and told him she couldn't find Sebastian, that he wasn't in his room or anywhere in the house, said Carter. Katie got into her car and drove around the neighborhood and to Sebastian's school, which was less than a mile away from their house, searching for Sebastian before returning home. We know that was all for smoke and mirrors. She needed to be captured, appearing that she was looking for her son, yet she had her entire windows rolled up. She wasn't hollering his name. Apparently, she was just looking like she was searching for him, but not actually searching for him, much like she's done since the beginning, right? She's always hide and try to act like, but never actually does anything. Remember, she's military trained and MMA fighting trained. So there's nobody that would be better at trying to find her son than herself. She could have schooled everybody, all those law enforcement, when they were starting to talk about him wandering to streams, and she could have said, look, my son's not going to those places. Yeah, I understand the statistics about autistic children, but my son is not that. My son does not go into that box. My son is not an eloper. He knows how to swim. He's not going to get into a pond. You will find him in a pool before you find him in a pond. You know, but she didn't. She kept her mouth shut and let them just keep going. And we all know if he was swimming, he's not going to be in a freaking lake. He's going to be in a neighbor's pool. But they never told them that. They never told them that. Why? Because they wanted the search. They wanted the search. They knew that they were never going to find him. Chris made sure of that, in my opinion. Chris made sure of that, in my opinion. But that's what is the most scary, is that bang. So then we find out during this time she calls her husband. In the earlier days of the search, it seemed Sebastian vanished without a trace. This case was this is where the FBI, this is the only remark the FBI makes, and they put a bullseye right on Katie's back. The FBI did. Not Sumner County, not TBI. This is FBI. It says, oh, no, it is. No, excuse me. No, this case was kind of a question mark, says Nashville FBI Special Agent Robert Barrett. Mom wakes up and he's just gone. There's a question mark, and we've got to figure out what happened. The question mark only grows bigger as the search went on. Sebastian didn't take any clothes. This is from Sumner County. Sebastian didn't take any clothes, shoes, money, or his cell phone, said Carter. His cell phone and cash were both lying on the desk. So he had cash too. He didn't even take money. He had his phone and his cash. They said phone and cash were both lying on the dining table where they had been the day before when he went to bed. According to Katie, there was a small yellow flashlight that she thinks was missing. And we know it wasn't. They knew they were on the outside of the house with flashlights. They needed to explain it. But that was the only thing that appeared to be gone from the house. The first week in the search, for Sebastian was massive community and interagency efforts between Sumner County, TBI, blah, 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 blah. They go on to tell you how many areas they cover. The day or two, additional ground search, law enforcement employed available resources related to drones, helicopters, even airplanes. During two day of search, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office reached out to the FBI for assistance. So they searched two solid days without even calling in for resources of a child. 2 days before they reached out to FBI. These people are not smart. For assistance and specific resources that could potentially help find Sebastian, who has high functioning autism, I contacted our FBI child abduction rapid team. That's the FBI CART team for initial consultation. And then they began in the FBI behavioral analysis unit, said Barrett. The BAU shared statistics about 50. This was all wrong for Sebastian. And this is where I just, Katie and Chris could have stopped a lot of this and had more focused searches that were more in line with their son. The BAU shared shows that 50% of autistic children are prone to wander. That wasn't Sebastian. They should have known that. They are naturally drawn to bodies of water, and 71% have fatal outcomes. Again, not Sebastian. These statistics did not go with Sebastian. And Seth was telling them that, but Chris and Katie weren't. Why? The information that helped us focus on searching around bodies of water. The bodies of water search was a waste of time, waste of resources and everything. Why? Because this child would most likely go swimming in a freaking pool before he wound up in a freaking lake. Just saying. But nobody would want to listen. Nobody wants to listen because, they know better than everybody else. Everybody knows so much better than everybody else. In addition to law enforcement searched almost every home. So almost every home. That means that there are homes in that neighborhood that have not been searched. Video recordings from nearby homes and dash cam. Here's another big old blow to Katie. And this is another target on Katie's back. A dashboard camera in Katie's car showed that Katie and Sebastian did not leave. Remember, Chris didn't try to say it wasn't a dash cam. Well, according to law enforcement, it is a dash cam. So he was playing word salad to try to manipulate the public somehow. Well, apparently this dashboard camera runs all the time. And this dashboard camera picks Sebastian going into that house. That's why I stopped looking at a lot to do with the Texas Roadhouse, because they have Sebastian going in that house that night on this camera, this auto camera, this, this dash camera. So they say that the dash camera in Katie's car showed that Katie and Sebastian did not leave the house after they returned home from dinner, that no other cars were seen coming or going from their home. They didn't see any other cars coming and going. They were specific, from their home. We know that weird car never parked in anybody's driveway, just sat there and the 2 flashlights came to it. And they're trying to say that that was somehow a reflection. A reflection. Well, where's the car? Because if you guys have ever seen reflections, what is happening? Usually you're seeing headlights moving. So you're not getting moving reflections unless you have a moving light somewhere. There's no moving light source out there. So where are the reflections coming from? Again, I work with cameras every single day. Every day. If somebody also works with cameras every day, tell me I'm lying. I guarantee you probably agree with me. Not very much evidence, none at all. He walked off, right? They're even saying he never left the house. They have no evidence. They have evidence this boy went in the house, but no evidence this boy ever left the house. So anyways, let me read this whole thing in total. It says, in addition, law enforcement searched almost every home in the neighborhood. Video recordings from nearby homes and dashboard camera in Katie's car showed that Katie and Sebastian did not leave the house after their return home from dinner, and that no other cars were seen coming or going from Katie's home during the evening and early morning hours of the night or day Sebastian disappeared. Oh, thank you. Who is that? Lisa B. Always. Thank you, love. According to Hong's post, allegedly SCSO only made statements after DOJ was CC'd on an email, allegedly, and in my opinion. Good. 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 We're not playing anymore with this stupid agency. We're going, like I said, you don't want to really you don't want to screw with social media. We've got no time for you looking down upon. We don't care. We don't care. Law enforcement could look down upon us. We're effective. We're effective, and they in some cases we embarrass them, and I get that. When you're looking for people for years and years and years, and it takes a social media crew going in there to pull cars out of lakes that you guys searched 15 freaking times. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that, this is the thing that they don't understand. We here on social media, they think we're so stupid. But we have FBI agents, we have psychologists, we have behavior analysis, we have speech analysis. We have probably better people on here with higher degrees of certainty than the people that they use. Period. I love social media, and I love our true crime community. It is a whole bunch of people coming together for the sake of helping in these cases. And sometimes we have to deal with arrogant law enforcement that thinks that they're the only, like that Chad Bianco. What an idiot. That kind of attitude is never going to get you hired anywhere. It's definitely never going to make you governor. And even this whole thing with Eric Craddock. I'm not going to be done in that county until I make sure he's no longer sheriff running that county. I'm not leaving him like I did Hawkins County. I gave up on Hawkins County, but Ronnie Lawson didn't dare put a finger on me. He was smarter than that. A lot smarter than that. But I'm not leaving until Eric Craddock's lost his position. So if that takes me 5 years, if I can get him out in 2028, I'm getting him out in 2028. If that's going to take me longer than that, it doesn't matter. Eric, I'm coming for your job, bud. I'm coming. It's me and you, babe. I'm coming for your job, and I'm not done until you are no longer the sheriff of that county. You suck. I'm coming for your job. I'm letting you know that I'm coming for your job. Because when I get your job and I take that job from you, you know who did it. You know who did it. You might want to call my county commissioners. Her name's Carol Whitmore and Misty Servia. I went into their board of county commissioners and told them the exact same thing. They laughed in my face. They laughed in my face until they were walking out that damn door. Laughed in my face. In a meeting. And wanted to talk down to me because I have a record. All right, boo-boo. Just remember, you heard it here first. I'm no one to, you guys think I'm something. I'm something, all right. I'll tell you that, but I'm coming after Eric's job. So, Sumner County Department reached out. Okay, we went through that. Sorry, I went up a little bit to make sure I didn't, because I skipped over a lot of stuff. If you guys want to read this in its entirety, you can. So that was the statement that they put a target right on Katie's back. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about whether or not they're looking at Katie Proudfoot. Like, she's all in here. They're basically saying, we know this child went into your house but never walked out. Because their statement is that their son woke up in the middle of the night and walked out of the home. They're saying, we've got evidence he never left the home. That's a target on her back. That's saying, you know, we're looking at mom. Without saying they're looking at mom. We have followed through every tip that has come through, says Joff Savley, which is a special agent in charge of Criminal Investigation Division of TBI. Again, don't really have a lot of respect for TBI. Maybe I will, if they can actually close a difficult case. But so far, we've had multiple times that they've been involved in very difficult cases, and all of them remain open, unsolved. That's not good. That is, yeah. Can they go find people that are truly missing? Yeah, but what about the murdered ones? The ones that are difficult, you know, the ones that you guys work on for a month and like, you know, it's just a kid. We got more stuff. Let's move over to the missing kids that are actually missing. You know, that we can go find and bring home and give ourselves a pat on the back and say, oh yeah, we got a kid, we brought a kid home. What about all those kids that aren't home? Right? Those ones that were hurt by their families, not just wandering off, you know, with their dogs. What about them? You know, like Summer Wells, Marsha Blackburn, Bill Lee. Nothing. I will say I'm very thankful Pete Hegseth came down here, or up there. I'm glad he did. I don't think that was, I don't know if that was planned or not. I just have a funny feeling, you know, nobody knew about it. It just seemed like nobody knew about it. Like law enforcement, or the media out there didn't even write an article about him coming there. We've got photos that he was there. But I tell you right now, if Pete Hegseth came to Manatee County, like, it would be pretty big news. And we're a huge county compared to that county. Huge news, you know? So I don't know if, it seems like we're making enough noise. I mean, I'm seeing people in places that, you know, just seem like it would be too much, you know, not worth their time to be at. You know, like Pete Hegseth could have sent literally anybody under him to hand out those honorary, you know, cadet badges or whatever, but he chose to show up in Sumner County himself. I love that. But they are trying to tell us, they did change his weight, because we've been hearing it, he was 120 pounds this entire time. We all said, no, he was a lot smaller than that, a lot thinner. He was 110 to 115 pounds. So I'm glad to see that they've updated that. They are still offering the $50,000 reward, but I don't think they're going to be able to get through, because all the people that know about it are within that family. And that family is not going to talk. They're trash. They're trash with money. That's all it is. They're ghetto. They're ghetto as shit. The house down the street from Sebastian had security video from that night. And this is the part that ticks me off, because they tried to explain it. And I'm sorry, I'm a videographer. Like, I know nothing. I know lighting. I know reflections. I know. There's something I know. This is something coming from Bullhorn Betty's experience. I know. So security, so the night of his disappearance in camera angled in the direction that happened to be facing Sebastian's backyard captured 2 small moving lights. They even acknowledge that the lights are moving. However, it says at first glance, the lights appear to be right in Sebastian's yard, suggesting someone was lurking with 2 flashlights in hand, potential suspects given Sebastian's disappearance the same night. However, law enforcement further investigated the video and they disproved this theory. No, they did not. They may say they disproved it, but they'll you know what? If it's no relevance to the case, it has no integrity to the investigation. They're saying that it is not flashlights. Then show us. Get on a YouTube and explain how those things happened. They're not going to. Why? Because they know it's bullshit. I know what I saw. I saw those 2 lights go to a car. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw with my own eyes lights coming from the side of their house and walking to a parked car. I saw a door opened on that parked car. So really? The neighbors didn't keep those videos confidential. They are literally out there for people to see. Nick Barris saw the whole video. He would have never picked up those lights. He would have never picked up those lights if he didn't see what we saw. He didn't show the entire footage that we have. But there were definitely lights. Those lights moved across the yard, and they moved across the yard to an unknown vehicle where that vehicle door was opened on that vehicle. Opened up. And then you see the one lone light. One, not 2. One. Go from that car back to that house. They won't call Bullhorn Betty a liar. I know what I saw. 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 But since they say this is a nothing burger, has nothing to do with just minor reflections, then this doesn't go to the integrity of the investigation, and somebody certainly should be able to explain with specificity on how these are just reflections. So, Eric Craddock, this might be a good way to save your job, but I am coming after it anyways. Doesn't really matter. You're done. You're done. So, you're done. But that's bull. That's basically what the statement said. There's not really a whole lot there. But in my opinion, this statement is very, very damaging to Katie Proudfoot. Hashtag Katie Lynn Proudfoot that used to work for Brinks. Not sure if she still does. But it's pretty scary that you have somebody that disappeared with their son in your home putting a security system around your children. That would scare and terrify the shit out of me. So if you're in that area and you're looking to put in new security, I'd make sure that Katie Lynn Proudfoot's not coming into your home. She's got a kid that's mysteriously disappeared that the FBI as well as other law enforcement said this child walked into the house and never walked out, but yet disappeared. Well, there was only one person in that house with him. Take it for what you will, but I will never shut my mouth for it. I have a right to speak about it. I'm going to speak about it. I call this investigation a joke. I think Sumner County is a freaking joke. And TBI, you know, I'm starting to think TBI is nothing but I'm starting to think the whole state of Tennessee is nothing but one big joke. Because you guys got farmland, and that seems to be the only thing that your politicians give a crap about is your farmland. Meanwhile, your children, what's going on there, the crime, the drugs, they don't care. They just want to sweep it under the rug and say, hey, we got the prettiest state in the world. It's the most lethal state in the world, but we got the prettiest state in the world. Raha, raha, yeah, Governor Mike Lee, or Bill Lee, yeah. Senator Marsha Blackburn, yeah, TBI, Sumner County, Hawkins County, people. We just want the farmland. I can't. All right, guys. Well, that was kind of my spiel for today. I know this is kind of going to be a light day, and it is what it is. So if you guys would like to show some love, pass this around. We're going to need support this week. You know, I know it's going to be a little bit different. If I can get the system set up and do a live, I will, like a normal live. I did bring the equipment, some equipment. I've got the computer that you guys just saw, plus I got my second screen. Look at the second screen. Like, it's awesome. I mean, this is a second screen. Look at that. I think I got this for like $68. Look at that. Let me take this off. I'll show you. Hold on. Now we'll put Delilah's cute little face back up there. Look at that. Look at that. It's a portable second screen. Remember when I'm on the road, I always screw up my screen. Like I'm always having to work off one screen, and when I'm showing you guys stuff, you guys see like my computer and my computer inside my computer, and inside it's like a kaleidoscope type of thing. And so now I got the screen. It's not as bright, you know, the colors don't pop like a normal screen does, but I mean, it's a place to put another screen to. So when I'm doing a show on the road, we can have a 2-screen thing. And it fits, it's so thin, it's just like a little notebook. Look at that. See, what? I told you guys don't even know. I've been upgrading, but I am going back. I've made my decision. I'm going back to Windows and Android. After I found out that I'm, you know, every time I pay for something on my phone, I'm charging the supplier or the manufacturer 30% of the total bill. Like like today's economy, we're all struggling here, and I have to think businesses are increasing their rates because of all this money they're having to pay for us to pay for stuff. I'm done. I hate Apple. I think Apple is a, you know, it's a quality product. I get it, but it doesn't work unless you have everything Apple. They keep you in this. It's like a Groundhog's Day in sense. Like you once you get on Apple, it's like you can't get off of it. Like they make you buy all this stuff to go with each other, so it all works together, and you get so comfortable with everything working. Like you're really willing to spend 30% of your entire investment more than with like I'm not made like that. I'm not made of money. Like I'm going back. It's going to cost me a lot to go back to Windows, and I don't care. I'm done with Apple. When I found out that, you know, like. Think about it. We buy from Victoria's Secrets, Walmart, all these things on our Apple phones. You want to know why our Walmart costs are going up? It's because every time we pay for something on our Apple phone, and it's just on the phones, they have these third-party pay agreements where they take 30% off the top. 30%. And we keep wondering why our prices are going up? Well, they have to get that. Whoever we're shopping with got to get that 30% somewhere. Guess who they're getting it from? So now we're paying Apple 30%, which is not needed, and we're having to pay additional 30% on our products, which is always going to constantly be 30% back to. I'm done. When I found out about that racket, I'm done. I got all of my apps and everything that I can use on Windows, on an Android device, free of charge, free. And here I'm paying like $100 a month to run apps on Apple. They just charge. They nickel and dime you, literally slap to death. And I'm sorry, I want off the Apple, whatever this is, trend. This is expensive. I don't know how you young folks can afford to be on Apple products. But I'm telling you, whatever business you're in, if you're running Apple, you are wasting thousands of dollars. Thousands. I've wasted thousands of dollars. I know that for me personally. And our business is not designed where we can just, you know, piss away thousands of dollars. That's flyers. That's banners. That's, you know, I look at that. That's help for a child, a missing person, a deceased person. Like that's taking money out of our goal of helping. And I'm not doing it. As soon as I can get off all this crap, I'm getting off of it. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is holding tight until I can change accounts. And once I can change accounts, I think I'm going over to T-Mobile and going to satellite phone. I want to be able to use my phone anywhere in the world I walk. And I think that's what I'm going to do. But then I can get a phone, and I think I'm going to get the Samsung, and I think I'm going to start converting that way. Everything is on my Apple computer, all of my legal documents, everything. It's going to be a nightmare to change. It's going to be an absolute nightmare to change. But I'm committed. I'm tired of costing myself so much money. So if you guys are realizing you're spending a lot of money, I'd suggest you go to those apps. If you've got 10 apps at $1.99, you're paying $20 a month just on that. And most of you guys have like 20 or 30 of those. Like, what? Can you imagine if you could save that and save that every single month? By the end of the year, you could literally go on a vacation free of charge just by changing from Apple to Android. I want the vacation, even though I never take the vacation. I'm just saying. All right, now that we went completely off topic. Apparently the Apple phone's bothering me today. Who knew? But look at that gorgeous little face. This is taken this morning. She got a hold of something. I'm not sure what she got a hold of, but whatever she did, she ripped the freaking feather off of. And that's her with the evidence in her mouth. She was caught red-handed. And would you believe that she told me she didn't do it? I thought I was speaking to Katie Lynn Proudfoot this morning. Yep. Sure did. She said, I didn't do it. She spit it out. And I looked at her, I said, are you identifying as Katie Lynn Proudfoot today? And she said, no, Mommy, I hate Katie Lynn Proudfoot. She's an evil mommy. And she said, I love my mommy. My mommy's the better mommy. And I thought, you know what, Delilah, you're absolutely right. Your mommy is the better mommy. So spit the feather out. And right behind her, you can't see it. It's out. Maybe you can. Maybe that's it right there. You guys are missing it. There's a trail of black cat hair. There is a trail of a little black. I think that's one of the little patches right there. I think that's a little patch of black cat hair right there. I'm surprised by the time we leave here, poor Binks is not a bald cat. You know, if you guys haven't seen Binks, Binks is like this big and it's all hair. He's like a hairball. He's like a walking hairball, okay? And so it takes a lot, like when she jumps on him, like she can bite, and I think that's the problem why he doesn't really mind it so much, because I think she gets mostly a mouthful of this hair, this poof hair that he's got, because his body's somewhere in here, but his hair is way out here. So I think that whenever she does attack him, the reason why he's fine with it is he's got all that padding there that she gets a hold of before she ever gets to him. I don't know, but she seems to have fun over here. You guys haven't heard her bark not one time. I think she's with Gamsies. I think she's with Gamsies in her bed. I'm going to open the door and see if Gamsies wants to say hi to you guys. Hold on a second. We're not going to show you Gamsies. We're not going to show you Gamsies. Did you want to say anything to the coffee club?
Hello, everyone. Love you.
How are you feeling?
I feel just fine. Is the camera on me?
No, it's on me.
Oh, thank
No,
God.
I'm not going to put you on camera.
I love everyone. And I'm not high today. I finally come down to earth.
You came down to earth?
Yeah.
How's your pain level?
It's very good. She keeps trying to dope me up.
I don't try to dope her up. I just try to make sure she's comfortable. And you can tell them what you called me yesterday.
You're Nurse Ratchet. Through and through. Nurse Ratchet. And Delilah is Nurse Ratchet number 2.
I've got her on the camera right now with the little pink thing. I got her behind me with the pink feather in her mouth from this morning.
Yes.
All right, so you guys got to hear Mama. She's doing good.
Yeah, I'm doing very good.
Sorry, I got to cover. I don't want you guys seeing my mom. All right, Ma. Thank you.
My jammies.
Oh, it's not even that. I don't want you on the camera. All right. So you guys got to hear. Don't let her fool you. She's worse than a child. She refused to take instruction. She won't sit still, but she's eating all my food. So I guess that's as much as I. That's as much as I. Yeah, you can go back. Oh, was a commercial hit right at that time? Aw, I'm sorry. So mom's doing well. She's I've been keeping her as comfortable as possible. The nerve blocker hasn't fully worn off yet, guys. So I don't think we're there yet, but I'm just going to keep feeding her while she's eating it, because I know when the pain starts hitting, it's going to upset our stomach, because I'm her daughter, and when I'm in a lot of pain, it upsets my stomach. So I'm just trying to, but I don't want to fill her, so when it does hit, I don't want her, being sick to the stomach. So I'm just trying to, make sure I've got all these things going around in my head so I don't forget. So today's going to be chicken noodle soup day, or chicken soup. I'm not doing the noodles. I'm just doing the broth, the chicken, the veggies, and stuff like that. Did Mama Bullhorn have rotator? Yeah, she did, Robin. I went over it yesterday because, I thought shoulder surgery was shoulder surgery. I mean, I didn't know, I mean, my mom had her knee replaced, so we went through that, but I wasn't here for taking care of her during her knee replacement, but I wanted to be here for her shoulder cup because I knew she was going to be in a lot of pain in her knee. She just basically laid in bed. She couldn't really do anything. She had machines all over her legs, that she had to run water to keep circulation, to keep the blood clots down. But she had the shoulder cuff surgery, and I thought it was only one type of surgery. Well, it was a full shoulder replacement. I don't know if that's the same thing or not. She had a full shoulder replacement, but they did a reversed shoulder replacement instead of a standard shoulder replacement, and I didn't know the difference. So Mom was trying to explain it to me last night, and I guess they do the surgery a little, like, not down here but higher up here, and the way that it's done is that it gives them the full range of motion when they are, a lot more range of motion when they're healed, doing it that way. So the way my mom explained it to me is she wouldn't have been able to play tennis, racquetball, or anything like that after the standard surgery. But because of the different type of surgery she got, once she's healed, she'll be able to have a lot more range of motion than she would have. So if you guys are up for shoulder surgeries and stuff like that, talk to your, like I said, I would, but I'm none the wiser. I thought a shoulder replacement was I thought it was standard. I didn't know there was different options you could get. So if you're going up for a shoulder replacement, just keep this in the back of your mind. They have different types of them, ones that'll give you more range of motion. And so she seems like, you guys heard her, she seems like she's doing pretty well. She's still got, I made sure she had medication last night. I was in her room this morning and made sure at 6:30 I gave her another. She's supposed to be taking a pill every 4 to 6 hours. She's doing good, but now it's time. I've got, in the next hour, she's got to take another medication. And then we still have to try to manage her regular medications and on top of it. So everything's going well here at the home front. So thank you for all your prayers and your concerns for my mom. She's doing really, really, really well. I'm really impressed. I'm hoping that if, by tomorrow or the next day, we'll know the full degree of her pain. And if she doesn't need the pharmaceuticals and she can start now transitioning over to like an ibuprofen, then I'm going to try to get her transitioned over to an ibuprofen. You guys know how I feel about pharmaceuticals. I don't like them. And so I'm going to try to do the best I can, make sure mom's pain-free. And I'll give her the prescription as long as she needs it. But as soon as the pain subsides enough where ibuprofen is a better therapy, I'm getting her off the other stuff. So that's kind of where we're at. So just wanted to give you guys an update. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Oh, River, big hugs and kiss to you. Sonia, I went off pain meds 3 days after back surgery. Yeah, I don't play with this stuff anymore, Even our, listen, guys, you know what? I don't know if you guys heard, this guy owned a sports game. He was 65 years old. He lost his life. Well-known guy. I just read about it. I don't remember who he was, but he owned I want to say he owned the Cubs. No, maybe not the Cubs. I can't remember what franchise he owned, but he was an elitist that owned a freaking whole entire team, and he OD'd. Okay, this stuff, and he and people knew he struggled for years. And that's the worst kind because they have money. They'll never go through their money. They just end up going through themselves before they ever do damage to their money. And it's sad because when you got it like that, there's really not, the difference between us and those types of addicts is the fact that we hit rock bottom. That's kind of our wake up call. When you have that much money, there is no bottom. There is no bottom. And he was 65 years old, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, he's got family, grandchildren, and he's dying of substance abuse. Like, you don't even, I don't remember the name, but he owned, they kept it under wraps for years, but he just lost his life, I want to say last week or something like that. I'm not sure who it was. Hey, Mama Bear. I'll have to read it. Once I see his face again, I'll see it, but he looked normal. He like you wouldn't, I'm sorry. I'm usually, my DAR is pretty darn good. My DAR is pretty darn good with these type of things, even with elitist and stuff like that. They're pretty stinking good. I would have never thought. I would have never known. Ever. Baseball, football, I can't remember. Let me see. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Former Colts. There it is. Former Colts owner. Jimmy Irsay. Former Colts. Relapsed and may have overdosed multiple times. Both Colts and Israel, who was open about a struggle with alcohol and addiction. He had repeated overdoses from 2020, 2023. And he finally lost his life they say his death certificate says death was cardiac arrest due to pneumonia and heart issues. But an autopsy and toxicology report was not performed, but they said that he was, he OD'd. The alleged overdose resulted in Irsay spending nearly 4 months in the hospital. Severe respiratory illness. The nurse admitted placing his pills in a lockbox because he was taking medication too frequently. Jim Irsay, and I'm looking at his face, and that's the man that I saw. So that's the article I read. But that is, and they didn't want to do the toxicology, but I absolutely believe it was an OD because he had been struggling for the previous 5 years with this. And they won't even say if he went straight to H or if he was just popping a mess of pills. But these people that are rich like this, they go to doctors and they're prescribed, ket, mean, right? And other stuff like that. They have doctors that can come to their house and like Michael Jackson and put an IV in them so they can go to sleep. I mean, it's crazy what these elitists can pay for and what doctors are willing to do behind closed doors. But it's just sad. All these people. So I always worry about that stuff with anybody because, you got to think the urge never goes away. And all these people that had these problems for all these years still have all these problems that they've been carrying with them all these years. And now they're becoming senior citizens. And this is going to get a little nutty. I gotta think. I mean, I would never think a grandparent, doing that. Like, who would ever think that your grandparent would be doing that? Definitely not me. Do you know if the arrest of Malaya and David and Daniel In the Sullivan case, I saw it on AI. Don't listen to those AI channels. Those AI channels are so bunk. It's not even funny. I mean, the AI channel said Emmanuel has been found. They said Lily and Jack's bodies were found. They said that Summer Wells has been found. Like these AIs, like, you know, they find the most outlandish things to say, and I don't know who's creating these, and I have to think that somebody's intentionally creating these misinformation, because AI just can't create and publish these videos themselves. So somebody's publishing these videos, you know, actually uploading them into the system, and they know they're wrong. That's why I said, if somebody's not willing to come and show you their face and show you their receipts and talk to you, I'm not taking my news from them, because there is not a news person throughout my history that I've ever seen behind a freaking emoji, right? Can you imagine if when Court TV came out, we had like a thumbnail, somebody speaking to us from a thumbnail? Like, I'm not taking that person seriously, right? So if they're not willing to put their name on it, they're not willing to put their voice behind it, they're not willing to show you who they are. I don't listen to anybody unless you know who they are or where the information is coming from. And if you hear somebody with an AI voice or a robotic voice, take 2 minutes, go to Google, type what they're saying in, and see if there's any truth to it. You'll find out very, very quickly there's not. If you think maybe it's breaking news, the best place to check for any breaking news is 2 places, either Telegram or X. Those are the 2 places I go for breaking news. Okay, if you don't believe me, let me go to Telegram right now. I'll tell you some breaking news that's going on that you guys have not heard. Let's do this thing. Right? Let me tell you guys some breaking news that you guys have not heard. You're going to be hearing right here first. I can't pick what you're going to hear. I can only go with what I've got here. So here we go. Here's one thing that just came out just a few minutes ago. What are the odds we are targeted ones? Apprehend 3 more. These illegal aliens from Egypt decided to ignore immigration laws and stay in the U.S. after being denied asylum. We tracked them down in Westminster, California, and arrested them. They are now on their way back home. This just happened just a few moments ago. Here are the newest people being released right there. Okay, so that literally just happened. We have Chris Murphy, we're not living in a democracy any longer. It's a statement that they're making. We've got more updates. This came out a few minutes ago. Let's listen to this.
Tobacco, firearms, and explosives. The Internal Revenue Service, Criminal Investigations, the United States Department of Labor, the Office of the Inspector General, the
I have
United
breaking
States
news
Marshal
information.
Service, the Georgia State Patrol.
This is not necessarily, and see, I have to go through here and find out what's breaking news for like right here. Here's breaking news right now.
We have breaking news in Mission Hills. The LAPD has just arrested an arson suspect after a standoff. Mike Case is in Sky 5 HD with the details. Mike, good morning.
Eric, Jess, good morning. And I tell you, it was a tough one here for Mission Division uniformed officers responded about 45 minutes ago to this barricade. Now, it was a barricade with a twist because they don't exactly know, or we don't know, what the barricade was all about. But we understand the person inside the house tried to start, and in fact did start the house on fire. That summoned LA City Fire here. They've put that fire out, and we saw what could possibly be one of the a suspect in the back of one of these police cruisers who'll be taken to the station shortly. But again, a barricade call, which is how this thing got started. And then apparently the person inside the house said he wanted to start it on fire. So what the original...
This is breaking this morning.
Was actually the owner of the house. We don't know. That's still under investigation. But the suspect...
The point I'm trying to make is I literally have breaking news all day long at literally the touch of my fingertips. And so there's a lot of stuff that we don't talk about that are breaking news because we're usually on a one track mind. You know, we're talking about like criminal cases. We're not really breaking news. Like I can tell you as soon as there's one of those things like Iqmel, he does all of these like chases, the police chases and stuff like that. Well, those happen a lot. If you're on certain channels, you can get immediate breaking news of all of those things going on. But when I get on here, my go-to is Telegram and X for breaking news. So just to let you know, if you have people doing the AI stuff, just go into X, type whatever the topic is. Summer Wells found, Summer Wells body, and it'll tell you there's nothing that came in. And then you go over to Google, nothing came in. You go to Facebook, nothing came in. You can ascertain that the news that you just read from this AI company is bunk. And so I just caution everybody that's watching AI or listening to the AI stuff, take it with a grain of salt. We don't know where that information is coming from, but I can guarantee you Jake Haro hasn't been found, Sebastian Rogers hasn't been found, Jack and Lily Sullivan haven't been found, Orson West haven't been found, Sebastian Rogers hasn't been found. These are new generated AI stuff that said all of these people have been located and they have not. So just be cautious of that. And I think if another content creator comes in here and hears me talking about this, please share this with your community as well. If we're all here in true crime, we don't want our audience being misled, because many of us are very much invested and we're hopeful that these people are found. We want these people found, right? And it really does hurt our heart when we get our hopes up that these people are found, just to find out that we were duped by an AI program. There's nothing worse than that. So, hello, Orly. It's nice to see you. All right, guys. Well, that's all I've got for you guys today. Mom's doing well. If I can come live a little later today, I will. If I can't, I can't. So God bless you guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.